Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, report of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters on a bill for an act to amend the Firearms Act, Cap F28, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to, amongst other provisions, increase the imposition of fines for offenses, provide for the firearms illegally imported into the country or in possession of individuals without valid license in a bid to build public confidence in the overall efforts targeted at preventing and curtailing the circulation of illegal firearms in the country and for other related matters, SB 549.
Distinguished colleagues, please, let's take our seats. Let's take our seats, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Firearms Act, Cap F28, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 Amendment Bill 2021, SB 549, was sponsored by distinguished Senator Uba Sani, representing Kaduna Central Senatorial District. The bill was read for the first time on the floor of the Senate on Wednesday, 25th November 2020. At the plenary sitting of the Senate on Tuesday, 16 February 2021, the Senate deliberated extensively on the general principles of this bill. Thereafter, the bill was read the second time and referred to the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters for further legislative action. Via Senate Order of Referral dated 17 February 2021 to report back with its recommendations. Mr. President, I'll quickly speak to the objectives of this bill before I jump to the legislative summary. The bill, in a nutshell, seeks to amend the Firearms Act, Cap F28 2004, to, among other things, achieve the following objectives. 1, to increase the imposition of fine for offenses committed under the Act from the current regime, which is not stringent enough. 2, to establish a comprehensive and coordinated disarmament process and destruction of all illegal firearms by the Office of the National Security Advisor in order to prevent the firearms from re-entering our communities. And 3, to take proactive measures and sustain legislative strategy to address the underlying factors facilitating the circulation of illegal firearms and block every loophole to curtail proliferation of illicit firearms in the country. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, because of time, I'm jumping to page 6 to talk about the legislative summary. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this legislative summary highlights our further inputs and changes made on the provisions of the bill by the committee. We commend the approval of the proposed changes to this distinguished Senate. Clause 2 amends Section 27 of the Principal Act. In the proposed bill, subclause 1C(v) of the Principal Act was amended by reviewing upward the fine from 1,000 naira to the sum of 1 million naira, or both fine and imprisonment. This is necessary because the fine contained in the extant act is not punitive enough to deter illegal importation and sale of firearms in Nigeria. Hence, the need for the upward review in line with current realities. New Clause 5 of the bill. The committee has introduced a new Clause 5, which seeks to amend Section 38 of the Principal Act. This is a consequential amendment in line with the provisions of the newly introduced Clause 39 of the bill. This is necessary because it is not only officers of the armed forces of the Federation and the Nigerian Police Force who are authorized to carry firearms and ammunition. Accordingly, we have amended this provision to include other law enforcement agencies as well. This amendment is as set out in the accompanying table. Finally, Clause 5, renumbered as Clause 6. The clause amends new Clause 39 of the bill. It deals with power to seize and destroy confiscated and illegal firearms. Secondly, subclauses 4 and 5 of the clause have been further amended by the committee to ensure that firearms that are not of military serviceable grades but are serviceable can be deployed for use by civilian, joint force, and other related registered vigilantes under the approval and supervision of the Office of the National Security Advisor. This is important because these joint efforts are also funded by the government. Finally, the committee introduced a new subclause 8 to this clause in order to clearly define the nature and types of firearms to be destroyed for ease of understanding and clarity. Our observations and findings. Having regard to views canvassed at the committee hearing and contribution made by distinguished senators during debate on the general principles of the bill, vis-a-vis our subsequent clause-by-clause analysis of the provisions of the bill, we hereby make the following observations and findings. 1. The stakeholders unanimously supported the passage of the bill with amendments which were reflected in the draft bill for approval by the Senate. 2. That in view of proliferations of firearms across the country, coupled with the security challenges, this bill is a welcome development and we commend its passage to this distinguished Senate. 3. That the fine in both the extant act is not commensurate with the gravity of the offense. Hence, the upward review of the fine in the proposed bill will serve as deterrent and as well strengthen the current efforts geared towards the control of illicit and illegal firearms influx into the country and in the possession of individuals. 4. That the utilization of confiscated and seized firearms that are of military serviceable grades by the military or paramilitary organizations is in line with best practices obtainable in some other jurisdictions like the United States of America, India, Australia, and etc. 5. That the consequential amendment introduced by the committee, which seeks to include other law enforcement agencies in Section 38 of the Principal Act, is a welcome development because it is not only officers of the armed forces of the Federation and the Nigerian Police who are authorized to carry firearms and ammunition in the discharge of their statutory functions. In thanking the President and our distinguished colleagues for the opportunity to serve in this capacity, we hereby recommend that the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights, and Legal Matters, to which the bill was referred, having considered same, do hereby recommend as follows. That the Senate do consider and pass the Firearms Act Amendment Bill 2021 as amended. I so move, Mr. President.
Any comments? Leader of the Senate. 2 years or both. The DSP came up with an amendment of maintaining the 2 years, but the 2 million was upped to 10 million. And that's what we passed. But there is an amendment motion that the 2 million should be 5 million rather than 10. So I'll put the question on whether it should be 10 or 5. Sorry? Did he say that? $5 million and 3 years. Okay. So the present provision is 10 million and 2 years. And what the amendment is seeking is 5 million and 3 years. So those in favor of clause 2 as amended, and the amendment is 5 million, 3 years. Those in favor of the, clause 2 as amended, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So what we have passed is 5 million, 3 years. Those in favor of clause Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters on the Firearms Act Cap F2811 2004 Amendment Bill 2021. Long title as recommended, clause 1 as recommended, clause 2 as amended, clauses 3 to 8 as recommended, short title as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
And third reading.
A bill for an act to alter the Firearms Act Cap F28, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to, amongst other provisions, increase the imposition of fines for offenses, provide for the destruction of firearms illegally imported into the country, or in possession of individuals without valid license in a bid to build public confidence in the overall efforts targeted at preventing and curtailing the circulation of illegal firearms in the country and for related matters 2021 third reading taken, and the bill is passed. Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues. I'm sure this will go a long way in supporting the fight against the so much insecurity we have in the country. And we believe that this is one worthy bill of a presidential assent. Congratulations to the sponsor of the bill, distinguished Senator Obasani, Kaduna Central.